All right, we should be live. That is the first time it's not giving us any issues. What's up, y'all? Coach David here.
What's up, y'all? Professor Muhammad.
And so we are live here. Guys, do us a favor. It's always like I hold my breath every time we do these to see how the audio is going to go. It seems like every week's a new challenge. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. We'll do it like that. All right, so just give me I guess you can't give me a thumbs up. Just put in the comments, let us know that audio and everything is working and that you can see us. Audio, video is good. Appears to be on my end. Professor Muhammad, we're ready to go. So we are, I think the warm weather finally broke. What do you think? I think we're in the clear.
I was in the clear when we hit the 50s. When we were hitting 50s pretty steady, that was good for me.
But then that ice storm came through, you know?
It did.
Yeah.
Hail or ice.
Yeah, like everything.
Couldn't make up its mind.
Do you think that they can engineer the weather? We're just gonna start off with it. We're just gonna start off with a tin hat thing. Like, do you think that they could? You think that they could do it? We should do a whole episode of conspiracy theories you believe.
That would be a good topic.
You might be surprised.
That'd be a good topic. Hey, if they can,
I'll start with 9/11 was an inside job. I'll go with that one.
If they can engineer snow in the desert in Saudi Arabia, then
I mean, you can make snow. Go to a ski resort.
Yeah,
you can make snow.
Yeah, well,
yeah,
I think I could do it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna go so far as to be like that. They planned hurricanes or anything like that.
I will say this: if there's something that could change the mood and the psyche of people, they're gonna come up with something to scare people. So if the weather affects people's psyche, then I would say yeah.
Well, so you're familiar with the Hunger Games, right? Like the movies, the series.
About time we can see eye to eye, Coach.
You're familiar with the Hunger Games. So they actually control. They're in a not a simulation, but they're in like a gamer map, and so everything that they can control the sky, and they control like it's kind of a simulation, you know? So I don't know if that's where we're at.
There's ways to beat the game.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't know. It's pick your battles, I guess. You know, like the Hunger Games. You know what bothers me about the Hunger Games, and we're gonna get in. I could 100% see it happening. Like in America, like with I could see it fully happening.
Yeah, I believe it is.
I'm not saying it's going to, but it's not beyond the realm of possibility for people to be on board and be like, yeah, well, it's for the common good. It's for the common good. Like it could 100% happen.
If every news outlet, every media, every social platform is sending messages of war and fear and killings and things spiraling down.
Yeah.
Like if that's not a simulation of affecting people's psyche, then I don't know what is.
Yeah. So we got a couple questions here. Topics that we're going to talk about today. The theme is going to be how do you turn a passion, something like jiu-jitsu, into a career? You know, how you and I have done it, how plenty of other people have done it, and then just kind of more, what could encompass that or circle that, which is, family life, balancing health, staying active and healthy on the mats, so kind of what that looks like. So the first one, I'll punt this to you. How has jiu-jitsu shaped your mindset as an entrepreneur?
Well, I don't know if I would be where I'm at today without jiu-jitsu, honestly. We were just talking about affecting the psyche of people, and we're hearing recession, and
we've been in a recession. Like who is still pushing that? I don't mean to interrupt. I'm sorry, but we've been in a recession for 5 years. Like who's gonna be like, it's coming? Like take a look around, dog. Like it's been kind of a tough 5 years. So who's pushing it? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah, no, you're good. So, like for us as business owners, we have what we call our leads.
Sure. Yep.
Someone who maybe clicked a button and they might have been scrolling on the internet late at night and be like,
Yeah.
oh, that looks, that looks cool.
Yeah. I didn't fill that out. It wasn't me. So you're not Muhammad Abdrabba? No, click. Okay.
And then you have someone who's like, you know what? I know martial arts gives you more confidence, a better mindset, and they're really interested.
Yeah.
So they're what we call leads. So we have two levels of the leads. One of them is like ready to go, and the other one's like, oh, I'm busy. Call me later,
Tire
or I don't
kickers.
have a job, or something like that.
We call them tire kickers.
Yeah. So
I call them tire kickers.
So every business and every job has a challenge.
Yeah.
And, when I find myself being challenged, one of the first things I do is I get back to training. Regardless of what my time is or my limitations are, I get back to training. And the same thing with lifting weights. I mean, if you're pushing weight and you got a bench on you, you have all the resistance coming down on you, and it's your job to figure out a way to work through this resistance that's coming back at you.
Yeah.
And it's only you against the weight, and it's only you against the technique. And so Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu has helped me as entrepreneurs because we have a problem, and the problem could be, and the problem is going to be the same where you're working for somebody or you own your own business. You have to find a way to add more value and to, bring somebody in to get the attention of your boss. And it is a problem solving hobby.
Can I ask you a question? So I have I want to get your take on this, and this is kind of, I don't really know. I'm trying to think of the best way to word the question, but as it pertains to employees, right? Because I don't believe that everyone is cut out to be a business owner. I used to believe that.
Yeah.
Like everyone certainly has the right and the opportunity. Like the opportunity exists, but I don't believe that everyone is cut out for that. But then you have like this. You see online a lot. There's a shared mentality sometimes of, well, I'm only going to do what I'm paid for. I'm only going to do what I'm paid for. There's no point in going above and beyond because they won't, you'll never make it back anyway. Kind of like an ugly employee mentality. Have you ever, it's been a long time now since you've worked for someone as
I remember it like it was yesterday.
Yeah. But did you ever have that mentality? And what would your response or take be on that mentality of
not everybody's meant out to be a business owner?
Well, no, but the mentality of, well, I only make so much, the company makes so much more, so they're only going to get I'm going to put in minimal effort because they're minimally compensating me. And let's assume that they're getting, they're getting paid what that position demands, right?
Yeah.
So if it's a barista manager or a Starbucks manager, all managers go, but let's say a barista making, they probably make 17 an hour now though, or whatever. But they're like, well, Starbucks is $1 billion company. I'm not going to put any extra effort in.
Yeah.
Like that just kind of I hate to call it employee mentality, but it's an ugly employee mentality, because our coaches, I've never experienced that with our coaches. They a lot of them would do it for free, so they really love what they do. But you can see it in some of the workplaces. In fact, I've been turned on to a lot of corporate. They're called corporate girl. What is it? Corporate girl jobs or something. They tell you how to play your boss. Effectively, it's a whole pages of how to play your boss and negotiate and play the yeah. I'll have to send you some. It's oh, well, can you stay a few minutes late? Actually, no, it's not in my contract to stay a few minutes late. Legit shit.
That's the advice?
Dude, I'm telling you. Yeah, I'll have to send you some.
Holy cow.
But what's your take on it? I'm going to turn the camera to you. I'm going to fix this one. Just ignore me.
Yeah. I'm not a troller, but if I ever seen something like that online, I would absolutely have to respond to that. Absolutely. So my take on that is this. It's really simple. So the question is, are some people cut out to be business owners and some people not cut out to be business owners? I would ask the question is, um, let me rephrase it. It's a team, and on a team you have a captain. So if you look at the owner or the manager as the starter or as a team captain, they have a little bit more skills, and you have to position yourself on a team to contribute to the team. In all sports, there's many different positions, and each position they contribute to the team in different ways. You have offense, you have defense, you have left side, you have right side, and in business and on a team.
Today I will be teaching
Keep going.
In business and on a team, if you look at the owner or the boss or the manager as a starter or a team captain, and you are on the field with them, just play your position. Just play your position. So, that's how I see it. And that's how, with our team and our athletes that we work with, everybody brings a different added value. And, to be honest with you, David, as far as that's not in my contract.
I'm telling, it was, I'd have to say, everything from like, some of them were understandable, right? Like not granting PTO, like some of them were kind of understandable, right? Like, but others were just, dude, that's not my job. That's not my job description. Like I just came up.
That makes me nauseous.
In the construction, dude, like I would fear for my job. Like when if I told, like, that's not my job. I worked for a door company. We spent 3 months on a roof, a commercial roof. Like, you want to talk about not what you signed up for, but bro, like, what am I going to do? Like, throw a hissy fit and, like risk losing my job over, not have money to bring home to my wife and kid. Like, if that's not for you, then change jobs. You know what I mean? Like change jobs versus like trying to always be like always looking at and maybe it's just corporate. I have no experience in corporate America, so maybe I'm super naive with it. But my sisters make fun of me. They say I am naive, and maybe I am. But I've never had a corporate job.
Corporate is very
cutthroat.
Well, I would say corporate is from my experience, is very like, there's a lot of wasted time.
Yeah.
There's a lot of activities and, there's a lot of unnecessary type of communication and
meetings that could be emails. Yeah.
Bro, and that's we're lucky. We are not, we operate with a corporate structure, but every conversation, every communication is always leading to one simple goal, and that's our vision board and our goal, our business plan. And there's no wasted time. And I think corporate just wastes so much time and money. They waste so much money.
So the question is, it's what part of jiu-jitsu you said you wouldn't be where you were at without it, because like you're just trained to kind of, it's that fighter's mentality, you think?
Yeah,
just the fighter's mentality.
I don't think it's a fighter's mentality. It's I get stimulated by activity, like moving my body. I had this. You ever have a craving for like ice cream or cake or shawarma, whatever it is. You have a food craving?
I'll get food cravings not every now and then for like, dude, nuts now. I told you, like Phase store in Allen Park.
Yeah.
Dude, we spend a lot of money there. We probably spend $100 a month there now, like on nuts, on just like Arabic nuts. Like
she's got some high level treats there.
Yeah, she does. Yeah. But that's what I crave. Stuff like that. But so what, to your point, like what do you get a craving?
I get a craving, so I had a craving to start jump roping.
That's weird.
Yeah.
That's what
I said.
That's very strange.
And I sent it to my family group chat. I'm like, I have this weird craving to start jump roping because I'm rehabbing my shoulder and I'm lifting more and more. And, I'm upping my cardio a little bit. And then and towards the end of my workout, I'm like, okay, I met my time. And I'm like, I'm craving jump roping, which is like stepping up my cardio. and it's funny because I get stimulated by exercise.
Well, that I get, that I get to get stimulated by exercise, and so it's to you, I. So
Hey, let me say this. Like, how has jujitsu helped me, and how can jujitsu and exercise help you? Is like it gives me it gives me a boost and creates endorphins in my body that actually motivate me, and
yeah,
that is where my affirmations start. This is me personally, and it might not work for everybody else, but my affirmations start. I start repeating them in my brain when I exercise, and then
you do it to those who don't know you. Like you and I have worked so closely together. You incorporate a lot of NLP into your personal life
I do.
that I don't think like it's very weird. Like if someone didn't know you, they'd be like, "This guy's a lunatic." Like it's just he's a weirdo. Like I remember when we were in Dallas. It might have been the first time you competed in Dallas, and
Mhm.
you had to cut weight, and you were just I was watching you run because I don't run, didn't run, and you're just what did you say? Be the first, get to take. You're like you just have your headsets and you're like be the first, number one, and you're just like repeating these things to yourself, and like I had spent so much time around you at that point, like I knew, but you know you were it's visualization, right? Like
Yeah.
it's visualization. But to anyone else to be like, this guy's a weirdo. Like it's just very strange things. But you incorporate a lot of that NLP, even down to your workout track. Like your preferred workout. Is it still motivation stuff? Like Eric Thomas or
Yeah.
yeah,
Get us started. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, I mean that is you incorporate a lot of that I think helps too. It's not just the jujitsu combined with that. I think it puts you in that peak performing state, so that when you're ready to like when you leave the gym, the mats, whatever, you're like, I'm ready to. It's kind of it's the trigger. It's the trigger for you to like go into work mode. Would that be inaccurate?
It would.
Yeah,
It
inaccurate.
would. So, so you have been a martial arts owner in the jewelry industry. Which do you know what gold is going for now?
I don't know. What is it? 2000?
It's unbelievable.
I have no like I don't use the word disgust a lot, but I I don't know if there's a price you could pay me to go back into the jewelry. Like if you're like $1 million a year, I don't. When I would get migraines so bad, like I would have to go into a dark room, pop like 5 Motrin, and lay down with my eyes covered in compression on my head because it was so stressful. Like
Can
it was.
can
I don't know. I don't know if
can
there's a
you answer
price.
one question for us?
Sure. Yeah.
Is gold going to level? Is it going to go down? What can we expect in 3 to 6 months? Because
Dude,
my son and my kids they're of marriage age, and I
yeah.
would really like we have to buy gold as part of
Yeah.
our overall
I don't know. I mean, what type
marriage.
of gold do you have to buy? Just any gold?
Like 20, 21, 24 karat gold.
But it could be so long as it's 24 karat gold.
Yeah.
So it could be like shot, like gold shot or gold flake.
Like
That no, just like that. Could it be jewelry?
yeah,
Could it be bars? Could it be like just pebbles of gold?
no,
No, that doesn't
no.
count. That doesn't count.
Well, we need to pull up a Arabic wedding up there and show you
Yeah,
the
I know.
gold
I've
that
seen. No,
females wear.
trust me. I've seen. So, let me hang on. Let me do some quick math. All right. You got a calculator there?
Yeah.
Do some calc. All right. So, because they deal in kilos. Uh, do 10,000. Um, do 10,000
Yeah.
times 5.
Okay.
No, scratch that. Go back. Do 50 times 5. That's 50 keys a day times 5 days a week
Yep.
times 52 weeks. How many? What number do you have?
65,000.
That can't be right. Is that right? Oh, I'm gonna lose it. I'm gonna lose the signal. Crap. Do it again. Do it again. Do it again. 5 kilos a day.
Uh-huh.
50 kilos a day times 5 is 250 kilos a week. Yeah, that's right. 250 times 52.
13,000.
Yeah, that's how many keys of gold we used to melt down.
Kilos?
Kilos.
How many ounces in a kilo?
There's 28 ounces. Well, it depends if you're doing an avoirdupois ounce or a Troy ounce. So there's oh, dude, you're testing my memory now. There's 30 kilos is 1,000 grams. So yeah, divided by 30.
1 kilo is about 1,000 grams.
Is exactly 1,000 grams. It's kilo, right? But a kilo is 2.2
or,
pounds.
Or ounces. A kilo is 2.2 ounces?
2.2 pounds.
Oh, 2.2.
So
you used to melt down that much?
Yeah, so that's how much gold we used to do. So like that's, we literally hunt so when I say I've seen thousands of pounds of gold. Thousands of, like I've seen to the point where thankfully Amanda, like, she has no interest in it. Like that. You would be hard pressed to show Amanda a jewelry piece that impresses her. Like for me to get her a piece that would impress her would cost well over 6 figures with certainty. Like, so to the point where we just don't even do it anymore. Like we don't dig with it because it's just, we saw so much class rings and wedding pieces and the necklaces with the gold coins in them, like all the way down. And of course, the Indian and Arabic culture, you require the high carat. The hood, they like the 10 carat or their 8 carat. And it is so gross. Like it's so filthy. It's so gross to melt it down. So
I want to ask you a question since we're on the topic of business.
Yeah.
Could you take the knowledge that you have today, go back into the jewelry industry? And do you believe that you could survive and make it if you jump back in there, David today versus a David before?
Yeah, I mean,
if you take away that you didn't like it,
I certainly have a lot more knowledge, but there's just so many snakes in the industry. So many snakes in the industry. I just for you talk to, by and large, martial arts school owners, very honorable people. Most of them. There's some dicks, there's some douches, right? Like in anywhere. But like by and large, like they're pretty straightforward, right?
Yeah.
That's not the case. Like to find an honorable, trustworthy, intelligent, and competent person in the like, it's like we used to go to these trade shows, like 1,000, 1,500 member trade shows. Like most of, they're snakes, man. They're snakes. Like they would do the Manny shuffle, right? I've told you the Manny shuffle, which is like they would be like, how much for this watch? All right, this watch is, 5,000. Okay. And how much for this one? 7,000. Okay. How much for both of them? I could do 11 for both of them. All right. So then you got 5,500 for the. So they would just like try to like fast talkers, New Yorker fast talkers, man. And I don't like it. I don't like anything about it. I like a very direct, like your yes, the scripture says, let your yes be yes and your no be no. Like don't mince words. What you say, mean what you say what you mean. I want nothing to do with it. So I don't know if I could. Like, to answer, I don't know if I could because I would hate it so much. I would hate it so much. Like my brother he's still very much in it. He thrives in it. He's
such a nice guy.
Yeah, he's not. No,
What's your brother's name again?
Paul.
Paul.
I have two, but Paul's still in it. He's still very much in it. I don't even know how he does it. Like,
he must enjoy it because I don't take Paul for that type of guy. He's cool. Yeah. He's friendly. He's kind of social. He's kind of intense, but not like overbearing or intimidating. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like I could see Paul.
He does really well. He does really well in that environment. Of just the hustle and the grind. I don't really have a lot of.
Okay, no more jewelry for David.
I don't have a lot of interest in it. How do you balance? Oh, what's one moment on the mats that changed your outlook on life or business? I don't even know if that's a real thing.
What's one moment?
A moment on the mats. I can tell you a moment in business that certainly a period of that crafted me as a person, and I think uh, someone made a comment. Oh yeah, this week they were like, you really don't care about anything, all right, what anybody says, and that wasn't always that case, but certainly 2020 was like like if you're not with me, you're again. Like that's where I'm at. Like if you like what I'm about, awesome. If you don't, that's fine too. Like there are 8 billion people in America or whatever. Like I don't need to waste a lot of time on you. And that was just such a I never I can't remember feeling so directly under attack during COVID. And so for me, that went like having to endure that and just the way that people were treated, the way they treated business owners, the way that they called the cops on us, claiming we were trying to kill children, that we were like trying to get us actively, very intentionally and actively trying to get us shut down. Like that's where and just the large scale disappointment in humanity like I was just that's where I was like I was very that certainly scoped my personality pretty largely. Additionally, at the same time or right after that, I had just left a church that I had been going to for a very long time. That's where I met Amanda, and just a lot of the, we'll call it, neglect and just uh, mistreatment isn't a strong enough word, but just the poorly handled leadership at the church as well. Further disappointment in people, right? And so I think those two things kind of blended together to create a really unique. That's certainly a part of my core personality. Not on the mat, but it was certainly like running a jiu-jitsu school during COVID was in Michigan. I don't know. I don't know, man. It's pretty core memory stuff for me. What about you?
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, just it says what a moment that changed your outlook on life and business, or just something that like molded who you are or part of who you are today.
There's so many of them.
Pick your favorite.
So one of the ones that I remember, I had been training jujitsu at the time, and I think I was a purple belt, and
You're a purple belt forever.
yeah,
You're a purple
longer,
belt.
not longer than you.
Probably not. No,
Yeah,
probably
you set
not.
some records.
Yeah, well, I don't.
Yeah, you could have been a black belt twice.
I'm a slow learner. I'm a
Yeah.
slow learner.
Yeah, I think one of them is, and I talk to the students about this all the time, is I was competing in a tournament and I was on bottom. I was getting smashed. And I remember that the guy was putting pressure on me. And the guy's pressure wasn't nearly as much as yours. Okay, when we were training.
Really?
Yeah, because you
Wow.
try to kill me. You say, Muhammad,
Really?
hey, Muhammad, you want to get up and train at 5 o'clock in the morning? All right, David, whatever. Okay, David, I'll get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. So at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, all of a sudden, you have people trying to like choke you, rip your neck off,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So,
It's a heavy start to the day.
oh my gosh, it definitely wakes you up. So anyway, yeah, like one of the those pivotal times for me was in the real life, like basically life and death and competing. I was on the bottom, and I just remember looking up, saying, "This is not how I remember it in training."
This is all he's got.
Yeah,
This is all he's
yeah.
got. Yeah.
And I'm like, well, David, it seems like I have to question: are we like friends? Are we training partners? Because he seems to be a little bit aggressive today, and uh, like that was a turning point for me. That one moment when I was on the bottom, like, oh, like this is nothing, so I could work myself out of this. And what that translates to me is the people that you surround yourself with and the expectation of how they live, how they train, how they work, how they focus, it is going to help you when you need it most.
Mm.
And and I just found that jujitsu has really helped me in that, asking me to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. That was a big one. Like, and really, it translates into building more disciplined habits that translated to my work. Because if I can get up at 5 o'clock in the morning with little or no sleep, or I can come back and train later that night, or I could go to the gym, I'm really keeping up with my peer group.
Mm.
And that was for me linking the two, because I'm always going to go to work. I'm always going to go to the gym.
Yeah.
What do I have in common with those two, and how can I link those two, or let both of those complement my life? And when I did that, that was a big turning point for me, realizing I'm actually going to the gym to complement my professional and my personal life. And if you train jujitsu, that's something. If you're a blue belt and above, and you got the bug, and your professor stamps you as a lifer, then you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You essentially go to the gym to kind of prep you for the rest of the day, because you're only there like hour or two a day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think
Like, that connection was really big for me.
Well, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think you realize just how physical you were of a training partner. Like, so, like, if it was the choice was either get smash or be smashed. Like, was kind of the choices I had at that early in the morning.
It's funny. We're working side control, and we're working some different submissions and positions. And
I hate side control.
as time goes on, and honestly, this is like in business and in life and on the mat, I'm always trying to find the most efficient,
Sure.
non-physical way to get to an end result, which is a win or a submission, or like something you could chalk up on a metric, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's the goal. You want to be more efficient and more efficient. And I realized something while I was teaching class the other day is like, sometimes you just got to get gritty.
Yeah.
You just got to get gritty. You
Yeah.
got to get dirty. And sometimes things are going to be physical and tough, and you got to impose your will. And it goes back to where I was like, 10, 15 years ago. It was like, yeah, like, I like being a really physical athlete, a physical person. And, that's what I've been with the other sports. But in jujitsu and in business, sometimes you just got to you got to get dirty.
Mm.
You have to roll up your sleeves.
You have to roll up your sleeves. I think there's a, the whole work smarter, not harder thing. But what if you work smart and hard? Like, that's a dangerous combo.
Very.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
like if you're like, if you're working smart 55, 60 hours a week, you can do a lot of damage in a 12-hour day, you know? So, how do you, this is, what kind of content, this is marketing and growth. What kind of content actually attracts new members? Oh, dude, I don't know. I mean, I do know, but like, well, we'll start with you. What do you think? What type of content?
Let me ask
What type
you.
of content actually
David
attracts?
Fox,
Yeah.
15, 17 years ago, what did you need to see in order to say, you know what, I am going to come in and try jujitsu? Like, what would you have
15 years ago, so I was 20, yeah, I mean, I didn't even need to like, well, so it was, I joined jiu-jitsu shortly after losing my first fight, and I got on Bottom Mountain. I just got like dusted. I just got,
street fight?
Yeah, just in a trailer park. I just got beat up. And Top Mountain, I couldn't get him off. He was just on Top Mountain. I couldn't get him off. So if I had seen a mount escape or reversal, like that, have been like, oh, that would have been really useful when I was getting punched in the face repeatedly, coming up, and then wrestling would have been helpful. I mean, just live footage. I mean, for me, live footage of it would have been enough. I had a lot of like word of mouth was it for me though, because Paul shared an apartment. He lived next door to Sanchi and Salo, so just word of mouth was.
I heard about those stories.
Yeah, word of mouth was enough. So he's like, you need to try these guys out. I was like, yeah. But yeah, I mean that's what I would need to see. What about you?
15 years ago, 20 years ago. I think something that would have attracted me back then is clearly saying that if you're gonna, there's many arts to choose from, there's many styles. Jiu-jitsu is the best, and it's not close. If you're looking into a martial art,
Yeah.
if you're looking into like, getting into something like that, there is no comparison, and we will put our money with our mouth is. And I kind of like it was being said, but it's in like with the Ultimate Fighting Championship and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But as far as a local marketing, if I would have saw an ad saying that, not only is it the best, we'll put our money where our mouth is, and it's more efficient, and it's a great workout. That would have attracted me.
Yeah, I mean it does, right? But it kind of seems like at this point, like I don't know why I'm in Downriver and Friends because it makes me feel better about my life. But like people, they're still searching for karate, like still, like and that to me that is a testament of it's not who's best, it's who's best known. Karate had such a heyday from the 80s and 90s that it has lingered 40 years later. It has lingered 40 years later. And so like that they're still searching because they don't know any different, right?
Yeah.
And it's I mean it is, you want to talk about it's not even close. Like it's not even close at all. Like when you deal with when you're dealing with any other art, man. I can't say any other art. Like boxing has its place, wrestling. I'm obviously very big fan of wrestling. But then the parents, it seems that they want the result without the effort, without the pain. Like to the point of where I've gotten like really direct with parents when enrolling them. I'm like, don't come to me and talk you will get very little empathy from me when your kid doesn't want to come to class, when your 7-year-old is throwing a hissy fit. Like you should have thought about this before you had sex, like in my opinion, or read a book or two about kids, because that's what kids are going to do until they realize they will play you to see where you will cave. And when they know, and my kids, because my kids do the same thing. They're like, they try to play, mama, dada, dada. And like, it's to the point, like this week's a good example. Tuesday didn't work out. I think logistics just didn't work out for them to come to class. I said, all right, you guys pick your makeup day. I don't care when it is. We'll figure it out with your mom, but you're making up jiu-jitsu. And then they ended up going to Thursday wrestling class, that's it right now. Now, as far as their performance, I don't really care about right now.
Yeah, same.
I mean, he's 5, Landon's 5, Scarlett's 8. I don't care. I don't care what their single leg looks like. I don't care about any of that, because of the activity is a hurdle enough. It's a large enough hurdle to do. It's a very difficult thing. And when yeah, and I do think there's I think part of it is it will certainly help the situation if the parents train, because like when they're like, Daddy, it hurts. Daddy, I don't like the gi. It's hot. Daddy, I'm like, who are you talking to? Who do you think you're talking to? Well, you're preaching to the literal choir here, So, I think that makes it a little bit difficult. But then there's also, parents, they'll reach out for things like discipline. And this was interesting. Do you know who Jennifer Waters is?
Do I know who she is?
Yeah, like some school, karate school. She might do like jiu-jitsu now or something, but
no,
karate school,
like
karate school owner. Anyway, there was a cartoon going around, and it was of parent day one of parents enrolling their kid. We want little Johnny to learn discipline, And then like a time goes by, and then it's the cartoons like we need to cancel because little Johnny doesn't want to come, and the instructor is just like, and so she did a voiceover of, this is the problem. I disagree with this cartoon because the martial arts school owners need to make classes fun, and then little Johnny will want to keep coming. This isn't Metro frickin' Funland. This isn't Metro Chuck E. Cheese. Like, no, like, yes, we will try to make it as palatable as we can. But if you're I didn't want to be a shit talker on her post, but like if you're teaching her that like, oh well, just the workaround is make the class fun. What happens when they encounter something that it will inevitably be not fun in life? Then what? And I almost, because what I wanted to comment was define discipline. Going to something that's fun, that's not fucking discipline at all. Showing up and working through something that is absolutely shitty, that's discipline. Yeah. Because you set out to complete and do that, like that's discipline. My opinion.
So I'm going to agree with that. I'm going to agree that martial arts kids need to think like they're having fun. But let me tell you how we do it at Metro.
I agree. I agree they should have fun, but you can't. You can't. We refuse to water down and dilute the art. Like, no, I refuse to.
Well, you can't. You absolutely can't. Like once you get to the, look at a peak performer. Look at an advanced jiu-jitsu kids match in a tournament. Look at their body language. Look at their posture. Look at their movement. That is the goal, to get kids to that type of like physical stature, right? So what we do at Metro is, number one, they got to feel like they're having fun. Number two, you got to trust the instructor. There's a like, you can call it like a courting process where you're getting to know each other. You want to make sure you trust them. You want to make sure you feel safe. You want to make sure you understand generally what you're there to learn and what you're meant to do. And after that, parents should expect that your kids are going to be fighting like 2-3 times a day, 3-4 times a week.
Yeah.
So if same for adults. I mean, if you look at kids that had a fight on a playground, imagine what would happen to your kids if they fought on the playground twice a day, 3 times a day, 3 times a week.
Yeah.
Like just think about that. My son is always, and good comes out of it. My son defended himself against a bully 2 times today on the playground, and it happens like at least 2-3 times a week. Imagine what kind of survivor that your son would be, or your daughter would be, as if they had a fight 3 times a week, 10 fights a week on a playground, but they always come up on top. Like that's essentially what our program does.
Yeah.
But to say, well, I want him to come on top, but I don't want him to get into the fight on the playground. I don't want him to get taken down, or I don't want him to feel like it was hard today. Like that's not realistic.
Yeah, it's not real. It's not realistic, and it's not realistic, and to be fair, we have a lot of really amazing parents. We have a lot of them, you know, like the entire.
Don't get me started on that.
We have a lot of amazing parents. I'm just that there are some. I'm saying when you first get into things, because first you have to combat. First you have to combat. Throw it back on. There we go. You have to combat the like the seasonal sports or the recreational. I'm gonna call them time fillers, like a 4-week program here, a 6-week program here. Dude, I don't know, man. Like 6-week soccer thing to move on to the next thing, to move on to the next thing. I don't know. I mean, we talked about this 2 weeks ago with Gary. You know, it's a year round. A lot of people, they like to dabble in a lot of different things, you know, and even you see this into adulthood. They'll do something.
I have kids. I got played,
bro. Like you'll even see people that I'm sure you've seen them shilling shit for, you know, online, and I'm gonna pick on MLMs for a minute because I can.
MLM,
like multi-level marketing, like these chicks go online, dog, and they're like, I'm so empowered. I'm a business owner, buy my shampoo and shit. And it's like, number one, you're not filing 1040. You're not a business owner. Period. I don't care. I'm sorry. You have no control over, like, if they turned woke tomorrow, you have no control over that. MLM's not a business. I'm sorry. I apologize. At me.
I disagree.
MLM's a business.
Yeah.
Vehemently. How could you classify you're a business owner by being a 1099 contractor for a corporation?
That's for a separate subject, but me and Coach David disagree here.
Okay.
MLM, I think is a great.
No one's saying it's not. No one's saying it's not. Can't be profitable. No one's saying, but to the point, what you see a lot, and I'll also, while I'm talking, pull up on your little computer there. What percentage of MLM products are sold within the MLM?
I'm not getting into that with you.
I won't even search it. It's like 85% sold within the reps themselves. So, but the point being, they're selling one for like it's a shiny object, and then they're in it for like 6 weeks. And then they like kind of fizzle out, and then you don't hear anything about it. And then a new one comes around, and now they're selling like kitchenware or some shit, and then it like kind of fizzles out, and then but sticking with something like that, I'm picking. This is one category. Or you see people they've got a job doing something for 3 months, and then they're like, oh yeah, well I changed it, and then they're hopping and hopping and hopping and hopping, and they never actually stick through to something. The stick through itness of jiu-jitsu, like there has been years of my jiu-jitsu career with it felt like very little growth and no growth, and I'm going to take ownership of that, because again, it was just like, part of it, I showed up for my psyche. So it was like, if I get better, great. If I don't, great. But I wasn't very intentional about like what I studied or how I studied. I didn't ask the right, maybe the best questions from Coach Danny and them. So, like whatever, like it's fine. But like I still stuck with it. Like I still stuck with it. And even there were plenty of days where I'm like, I'm not very good. I would lose tournaments regularly, like to the point you're like, this guy's kind of brain damaged that he would keep doing this to himself. Why not just stop? Because you're clearly not getting a whole lot better. And then there's a breakthrough point. There's a breakthrough point in which you are it starts to click a little bit more. Maybe you start to improve a little bit more. You start to, the same positions and moves that gave you troubles in the past don't give you troubles at the moment. So, there's a stick to itness that comes with jiu-jitsu. And so we do a year program. A year is not a long time at all. And parents look at it like, oh, that's a huge commitment. Which part's a huge commitment? Like what, like you want discipline for your kid? Would you believe me if I looked you in the eyes and said, yeah, give me 6 weeks, we'll give him discipline? Would you actually believe that? You shouldn't. Or if we did, best believe it would be a lot more than what we're charging. Like I would charge a lot more than what we do now if I could do that in 6 weeks.
I know I've seen it, and I hope that other people have seen it in this country. One way to like impact a kid's life for 6 weeks and have them go through an experience for discipline and
send off the boot camp.
And what's that word? Well, more than a boot camp. Being thankful for what you have and appreciation. Mm-hmm. What's that word?
Gratitude?
Gratitude. Yeah. Every morning, gratitude, One way to do that is send your kids somewhere in a different country that they can see what real poverty looks like.
Yeah.
My son, Isa, has a friend, African American, and they're from somewhere in Africa. It's a coastal town, and every time, his name is Karamoko. Every time Karamoko comes over, I'm like, Bilal says Karamoko, so I'm like, Bilal, why don't you tell your dad to take you guys for vacation over there? And then he's like, what?
Is it a poor part of Africa?
It's very poor, man.
Yeah,
very, very.
Because there's rich parts of Africa too.
Yeah, well, I think the coastal area might be a little bit more affluent, but it's not even a person in debt in the United States. How they're living is like Disneyland compared to what they're going through. And I think that I've seen it with my own eyes in different parts of the country. I've seen poverty where people are like, there's no way out. There's no way out. They live with like little or nothing. And it's, that's the kind of thing that kids need to see, whether it be, I'm sure there's local places that they can see people living like that, but that's what kids need to see. If you want to accomplish something in 6 weeks, you take your kids somewhere like that and you leave them. You let them live with them and experience it. And that's how you can get something done in 6 weeks they'll never forget for the rest of their life.
Sounds like a sketchy business, though. Letting my kid live in a coastal city of Africa. Who are they staying with?
I don't know, and I don't care. I don't know, and I don't care.
Yeah,
2 years ago,
I guess they would
2 years
be
ago,
great.
Issa was doing wrestling, right? And I'm like, Issa, I think wrestling's great. I'm like, if I paid for you to go to Dagestan,
2 weeks, Dagestan. Forget, or 6 months, Dagestan.
Yeah, if I paid for you, would you go? He's like, where am I going to live? Well, where am I going to?
With Khabib in the woods.
That's what I told him.
Oh
I'm
my
like, wherever
gosh.
all the kids that have nothing live, I said, they have these programs. You go there and I'll just ship you.
I saw
That would really change a kid's life.
maybe a step down from that would be, I remember a pretty part of my core memory. You want to talk about gratitude? It was a very common thing for us to do like these Christian camps growing up, like away camps,
Yeah.
And a lot of them were fun. But one year, I don't even know how I got sucked into it, dude. It was called Spiritual Warfare Camp. I don't know if it's still around. It was a heathen camp in retrospect. They were like speaking in tongues and like it's a heretic camp. But dude, it was boot camp. It was like drill sergeants. Like you were like, it was a legit 1 week boot camp. And I thought it was like gonna be like my other camps, like with water slides and like disc. I thought it was gonna be fun. It was not fun. And I was like a chubby little middle schooler at the time, so it was severely out of shape. Severely out of shape. And I just like, and they would legit like yell at you, like at boot camp. They would scream at you in your face, like right here, like get down, like legit. They treated it like boot camp. And this was like late '90s though, so you had to like okay keep this in mind, right? And I just remember like after the first night, I was like, what did I sign up for? Like how did I even get signed up? And I couldn't even blame my parents because this was my idea. Like I went with my boy and he's like, oh, this is cool. We could do this. And I don't think he'd ever been, but he was an athlete. Like, so it didn't really like running a mile for him was like, didn't matter at all. Running a mile for me, like I was going to stroke out and like it was very difficult. And so, so we went, I just remember like when my mom picked me up, like I thought about calling, like I wanted to have them call her and have her pick me up, but he's like, well, do whatever you want. I didn't want to leave my boy, but when she picked me up, I was like crying, and I want to say I was like 12 or 13 or something. I was like crying. So I was super thankful for my mom after that. So I think there's a point to that. I'm not saying to send your kid to a spiritual warfare camp. That's not what I'm saying. But we're gonna be sending Scarlett to an away camp. It's like still a Christian camp, kind of a fun one, but like so that I think there is value in getting them outside of not under the constant surveillance of their family. Now you gotta vet these programs, right? You don't want to like it's how you end up on a Netflix special or something like so vet the programs and everything, but yeah, I think there's value in there. I do. Going outside of America, I think would be eye opening for a lot of people to certain places, just to see how like everything from the size of homes to the quality of homes to
David, some people like I've been to parts of the country, they live with no like they either live in tents like every day or they live in like areas where the houses are not even complete.
Even like things like indoor plumbing. Like just so it's certainly a gratitude thing. I think it's huge for that.
One camp I went to as a teenager, I think I was about 12 or 13, and it was called Roots Camp.
What was it about?
It
Or
was
what was its theme?
the Roots was a camp for Palestinian Americans.
No way.
Yeah, and this was
Does it still exist?
it does not exist.
Why not? Why not?
I don't know.
Did they shut it down? Did they think you guys are like growing a cell or something? Like
No,
what's
no,
going?
no. It was um uh,
That's so cool. That's pretty cool.
yeah, it
Not,
was.
like for the well, those who don't. So Arab Americans are a minority to begin with, but then like Palestinian it would be like it would be the equivalent of like to come to America and see another Arab American is like really cool, but it would be like going over to Europe and meeting somebody from Southgate, Michigan. You know, or like for that very small group, it'd be like, oh, you're from Michigan, oh, you're from Southgate. So it's like a minority within a minority. That's the importance of it for those who don't understand that.
Yeah, and there was a, and we just learned about where we're from and a little bit of history, and we were 12, 13 years old. So we were American kids.
Oh, okay. That's
born
cool.
and raised, and so we were just as American as any other kid in Southgate or anywhere in the country. But they had a guy that was visiting from Gaza, and back then they didn't have like video and social media and stuff to document what's going on there. He lost his leg, and I'm still in contact with him until today. And meeting him and meeting somebody our age that lost their leg and living like that had one of the biggest impact on me.
He came over, so he was 12 or 13 at like when he visited the camp.
Yeah.
He came over, so he's your age then.
Yeah, he was my age.
I gotcha. Okay.
He was my age. Yeah, and he came over for the surgery. He got it done. He stayed for a little bit, and he was just visiting. He's been back there, and he's actually from inside Gaza. So he has a family, a bunch of kids. But the point is that just seeing the look on him, where he was so knowing that there's people just like you that are struggling and that don't have what you have, that really had a big impact on me. And I knew it, and my parents mentioned it all the time. But I think that's what kids need, is they need exposure to other kids like them that really don't have anything that they have. And because you can't forget that,
Dude, I think, I think there's a lot of it. And I was talking with Jimmy last night, Coach Jimmy, and we were just talking about like kids and whatever. And he was talking about goals for his kids, like as adult kids, and I guess Jackson's a teenager now, but I'm like, dude, I can't. I'm making this shit up 1 year at a time. Like I got to deal with this 1 year at a time. Like it is so, it's so challenging. It's so because you have these things of, it's certainly one of the most challenging things I've ever done is parenting, because you have like I remember really vividly as a child. Like I remember, I think not Steve Rogers, who's Mr. Rogers. What was Mr. Rogers' first name? Do you know? It's not
Mr. Rogers.
Just Mr. Rogers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Steve Rogers.
Steve Rogers.
Well, Steve Rogers is Captain America.
Captain America, yeah.
So, he was like, I think it's very, and Mr. Rogers was like, I wouldn't be surprised if he had some type of doctorate in early childhood development. Because if you talk to him, even outside of like the show, they interviewed him. He's like, I think adults need to remember what it's like to be a child.
Fred McFreely.
Oh, his name's not even Rogers?
Fred Rogers.
I was like, that's crazy. So yeah, and he's like, I think they need to remember what it was like to be a child. I remember that very vividly. And so like when Landon has a red hot temper, and mine was the same way. Like, and it's in an instant, right? Like he'll scream, throw things, whatever. And so that the natural reaction as like a parent is like, oh, he's gonna throw in slam doors. I'm gonna shoot, Well, you're just getting a temper about him having a temper, So I'm like, and I'm working with. I'm like, dude, like you need to have what? So like he's so sick of hearing the word self control. Like, because I'm like, if you don't have self-control, a boy without self-control will turn into a man without self-control. A man without self-control is going to end up in prison or dead. Like, so you need to have some self-control, dude. And so he's like, I know. I'm like, so we still discipline him, of course, timeouts, spankings, whatever, depending on the issue that happened. But like, but I understand, like, it's a very difficult thing. But I remember that specifically, and then Scarlett, it's just it's so difficult. And then you talk, like, all you can do is talk. You can talk to other parents about their kids and what has worked for them, but understand it's a different product.
Yeah.
I hate to call them products, but like it's a different like what worked for Jablil and Issa. I could try it with Landon, but it may or may not work because it's a totally different human being, right?
Yeah.
Totally different DNA operating system, totally different. And so it's just so challenging. And I think the gratitude portion, dude, I about lost it. Because man, this gets me really furious. My kids display ungratefulness regularly, like all kids do, like all kids do. But it just real, dude. It infuriates me. It infuriates
I know.
me. Like
wastefulness,
lack of
yeah.
gratitude. Like we'll do just like, and it infuriates me, and it makes me want to just be like, well then, fuck you. Like I'm not gonna, we won't do anything, and then you'll have a reason to not be grateful. Like they were complaining about, they've got these stupid little Amazon tablets, right? And she's like, I hate my tablet. This one, I was like, oh yeah, you want to know what type of tablet Daddy had when he was going to school? They didn't exist. Phones didn't have cameras when Daddy went to school, and I don't know. Like I just try to pick up anything I can from any parents that get advice to, because like that's one area where I don't speak on a whole lot, because I feel like you can't really speak and give advice on parenting until you've got like a finished product, right?
Well,
like if you got a 12-year-old, like don't fucking talk, like you're not even done. You're not even close to done. When you have a 25-year-old who has gotten married, then maybe we can talk about parenting. Like maybe you can speak into it.
Well, I will say that I say it all the time. Good kids come from bad families, and bad kids come from good families, and
they can, yeah. Bad kids can, yeah. They
absolutely
they can both ways.
I mean, it's so that's something I think that all parents have to keep in mind, because we can only do our part once kids start to get older, make their own decisions. There's like, the times that their personalities are shaped where mom and dad are at in their life, like socially, professionally, economically. A lot of those things influence how a kid grows, how much time they have with the child.
Sure.
But I will say that like if you have any pets, if you have a dog at home, if you have any kind of pets, let's talk about dogs. Parents are really afraid that my son is ADD, my daughter is ADD, right? If you have pets, you need to listen to this. They're scared that they got a problem on their hands. So if you bring home a puppy, and we're going to talk about a Belgian Malinois, you know what that one is?
Sounds big.
It's a little bit smaller than a German Shepherd, and it's very similar.
It's a big dog.
It's very similar to your dog. High energy.
Yeah.
They're about like 60 to 80 pounds.
Yeah, it's a decent sized dog.
Yeah. Very similar. You have a Doberman Pinscher.
Mm-hmm.
High energy.
Mm-hmm.
They're always running around. They need to be stimulated. If a Belgian Malinois does not have a job, if it's not being trained to do something, it's going to go crazy. And it's going to be eating stuff. It's going to be going all over the place. And I was telling, we tell the parents and kind of remind them that, kids are like the smartest of all animal canines.
They're way. You said kids.
What kids are? Kids, they're like a Belgian Malinois brain. They're like so smart, but they got to be stimulated.
Yeah. No, I agree. Giving direction. Yeah,
they got to have a job.
You're spot on, and they have to have, and giving them. If you just throw them a tablet or throw them something, I'm sure your kids too. My kids have tasks, you know, and they have things that they need to do, and I think that you do get a lot of parents that come in and I don't know where I stand on the ADD ADHD thing. I really don't. I don't think. I'm sure it's a condition that exists,
Yeah.
but I think for as broadly as it is um, diagnosed,
Yeah.
I wonder how much of it is conditional versus genetic. You know what I mean? Like if you put me and you're like, hey, go sit in this room for 8 hours, like I'm going stir crazy. Dog. I will. It's just a personality thing.
Yeah.
Much more of those guys belong on a job site or in an athletic training center or in a I was gonna say boardroom to emphasize business, but like business, like in any given week, like you could be doing 12 different tasks. And I know you like it that way because it's like, it keeps shaking things up. It's not monotonous, right?
But they all go back to one thing. Whether you're sitting in a room for 8 hours, you're doing 8 different things. You have to stimulate your brain, and kids, they need to have that. You need to stimulate their brain, and they have to have a task. They have to be engaged in order for you not to think that they're like ADD or there's a problem. Like there is no problem with kids. Like you said, it's probably over diagnosed, and I definitely would agree with that. But with kids, I think that everybody jumps way too quickly where they said my son is this or my son is that or my daughter's this. And one parent even told me, she's like, they said he's ADHD, and I'm not really sure. And she was a very dialed in parent. And she's one of the ones that I said is like, look, her son, when he took his first class, um, and as a disclaimer, I told her you can't expect kids on their first class to have an amazing first class
Yeah.
or a horrible first class. There's no normal. We're talking about kids doing a completely brand new activity. So there's like good or bad. We should have no expectations. If they don't run off the mat and start crying and just completely unengaged, then it was a good class.
Yeah.
But I told her, your son did amazing. And like a Belgian Malinois, he just needed to be stimulated. And he, for his age, like did way better than I'd say 90% of the kids that came through there. And that was a kid that was actually like diagnosed with ADHD.
Yeah. I mean, I would say boy, it seems like half of the kids that come in either for jujitsu or camp, they're like, oh yeah, he's ADD, he's ADHD. And part of me wonders if they like, if, I mean, I certainly don't. I certainly don't support medicating kids like as a maybe as a last resort, and under extreme circumstances. I sometimes wonder if parents like if they, knowing there is a diagnosis, they feel better about things, or they make excuses for these things because discipline goes a long way, and direction to what you're saying, direction or a task, giving them a task, right? Landon will see. He'll see me working on something at the house. He wants to help me. Like those flyers, dog. Those flyers are killing me. 30,000 flyers. But he'll see me like kind of sorting them out, and he's like, "Can I help?" Like, yeah, of course, yeah, absolutely, yeah, of course you can help. And so like him, and it's a different topic, but he's got we're working on his endurance. He can only help for about 10 minutes maybe at a time, but he's 5, I guess. So I'll cut him some slack. That is, I'm not sure how we went down this rabbit hole of kids and things, but it's adults are just big kids. They're just kids in adults' bodies.
Yeah,
I firmly believe that.
we didn't touch on it, but I think we know that. I think everybody has to remind themselves that there is a pattern and an algorithm that is being influenced on where you spend your time on social media, on the news.
That's actually a very. Can you speak more into that? Because I think just being aware that you're attempting to be programmed.
I think that's something that we should actually do give some real cases and examples of like the mechanics and specifics of how that work. But like there's a lot of money and research spent on how you spend your time. I think everybody can agree how you spend your money is easy to get you to go here or there and buy this or buy that. And I think no differently, they are shaping how you think, where you spend your time, and how you feel.
We had this. We had this. The school. Do you follow the School of Hard Knocks? That page. That's a sick page.
No.
It's the kid just goes around with like one of our just a mic, and he just goes around to like South Miami and South Beach. It was just he literally walks up to millionaires and billionaires, and like he tracks down. His boy's got a camera. He's like, "Excuse me, sir. Is this your Bentley?" And the guy's like, "What the fuck?" Yeah,
I've seen that.
Yeah.
I've
So
seen
he's
that.
got a lot of them.
Yeah.
And so now he's not there. His videos have gained so much traction. When he first started, it was probably really tough. But now his videos have gained so much traction. They're like, "Oh yeah, I've seen this guy." Like the billionaire recognizes the kid after he's like, I grew to that highest grossing YouTube channel or whatever. To do, can I ask you a couple questions? And then once they're like, "Oh yeah, sure." So you literally get like. That channel's super sweet because you get how much would you pay for like a 3-minute conversation with a billionaire?
It's worth something.
He's got 100 of them.
Wow.
He has because they're like, they're like, "Cool, yeah, I'll give you 2 minutes of my time, 3 minutes of my time, whatever." And so he asked them these questions and things and how they made it, blah blah blah. It's a very, very valuable page, and it's free. And he's making, off of that page, I think he's certainly doing very well. Between that and YouTube, but the one of the people he interviewed was, what's something that you should have known sooner, and she said something that you need to understand that your brain is a program, and that it is being, and if you're stuck on something, you need a reboot, right? So you need a reboot, and it's a program that is written by your by your upbringing, certainly, partially, by your life experiences. And there are a couple other categories, but like, and if you think, because I think about this a lot, like why do you talk the way you talk, think the way you think, train the way you train, like all of these complex, these things, largely, but also your, experiences, but also certainly your upbringing. With certainty, your upbringing, and then your how that was influenced, and so what type of what type of content actually attracts new members? The same content that repels members. And I've said it again, and I'm pretty unapologetic about it. Like even things like these podcasts. Like there are things where parents are like, "Wow, that's really cool to talk about it." Others are like, "How dare they, my kid?" Whatever. Then go somewhere else. I don't care. Like but there's this you have this window of like 7 to 14, I think. Have it like that's like literally like there's this heating period when you're forging steel. Like while that's literally hot, well, that's 7 to 14. That's a huge part of it. Changing your worldview outside of that window is extremely difficult. Like when you grow older of it, like changing your worldview of that, which is why one of our coaches was talking to me, and he was asking me about my faith, and he said he was like asking, he's like, "Do you think that, but you don't question like the Bible at all?" I said, "Yeah, of course I do. Of course I question the Bible." I said, and I will. I'm as certain in the Bible as I can be anything else. Is there a chance I'm wrong? Sure. Yeah. It's possible. Everyone wants to say it's just a lie. It's man-made. Okay. Give me an alternative though. Like there's no other alternative that makes sense to me. And I'm very grateful that my parents, like they a lot of that, I spent a lot of time in a Christian school, growing up in church. I rebelled against it in adolescence. But I saw like the alternative of what the world had to offer with it, and so tying this back to it's a program. Like if I were to the whole AI, man, I'm really nervous because like that's gotta, who's writing the program for that? Like where's that coming from? Like let's not think it's just this smart brain that is autonomous. It's not. And so that's a really scary thing that the AI's got an angle like that. And to your point though, your brain is a program, and there comes a time of it's your experiences, it's your upbringing, and that's a really important part of developing who you are, and you have to keep challenging that sometimes, and you have to reboot, and you can download new material through messaging, video messaging, to your point of what they're programming you with, books, conversations, experience. Go to Gaza, go to Gaza, go to New Delhi, where Christians are being raped and murdered. Go to I don't know if it's New Delhi, it's part of India. If it's not New Delhi, I misspoke. Go to Cozumel, but the ugly part of Cozumel. Go to these countries, go to these countries and like change things a little bit. It's like it's gonna interrupt that interference of just whatever mainstream media is feeding you.
Yeah,
So,
and Coach, I can appreciate that because as a Muslim, the first three words that were said to the Prophet, peace be upon him, were "Iqra, Iqra, Iqra," read, read, read. And as Muslims, we're encouraged to read and to study, and not just our religion, the Quran. We're encouraged to like learn and read, and we have to have we're encouraged to be good at things like our professional career, and many things outside of the actual religion, because read, 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 learn, learn, learn is about growth and programming. And there's a program for everything. There's a program for a computer. There's a program for basketball. There's a program for jiu-jitsu. And when things don't work, yes, you have to understand there's some type of programming going on, and it's our responsibility just to understand that there is a program. It's not, it
or
was created.
or an agenda.
Yeah.
Is it an agenda another word for it?
Well, the program was created by you, your experience, your upbringing. If you just understand it intellectually, I'm programmed to act this way on this subject, then I can revisit the program, find out whether just change the program or find out how the program came to be. And when you understand that, that makes it so much easier to break the pattern of falling into like the ADD or being addicted to like the media, the phones, or whatever. Like there's a program, like you said, and just understanding that. If you question where it is, how it was created, you go back and make some little changes. And one little change in a program could completely change the outcome or the solution to a problem by just a little change.
Amanda, I joke with her a lot about her feed and like her social feed. I was like, if she follows these shit, dude, I can't I can't stand the sound of their voice. Like it's just it's Amanda. It's just these, I don't even know who it is. Like it's got the most annoying nasally voice. Like it's
Fran Drescher.
Yeah, I don't know. No, not that bad. Like it's just a really like, and it's just these like crunchy moms, and I'm like, Amanda, if I would with certainty have no social media if all that was on it was the shit that's on your feed, right? And very like because it's just like stuff I have zero interest in. So the algorithm's really good at showing me stuff that I am interested in, right? Jiu-jitsu videos, gun videos. I watch a lot of construction videos, like just like construction, like hacks and tabs. Like, oh, that's an interesting way to do that. But to your point, imagine if like you just were to do a hard that would actually be an interesting social experiment to like redo everything, get all new accounts, and don't tell it any of your interests and just kind of scroll. I bet you would spend a lot less time on it. I wonder how long it would take to learn what you're interested in again.
My sister in Egypt just had a baby, my half sister, my stepsister. And I messaged her to congratulate her, and she sent me I sent her a voice note. She sent me one back. I listened to it this morning. She said something that was very interesting, and it really, I love getting these kind of messages because they're reminders. She's like, I follow you on social media, and I know social media isn't what's really going on in your life or anybody's life. And, can't wait to talk to you again or whatever. But she's smart enough to know, and she knows me that that's not what's really going on. You know, that's not.
What,
That's
what,
not.
what does she mean?
It means like, you know, that's not a reflection of how good or bad business is. Because, you know, people say, hey, how's the gym doing? That's not a good or bad reflection of how's your family doing. My uncle
Yeah, sure.
in the
Yeah.
hospital, my son and my daughter's getting into a marriage age. That's not a reflection of my, you know, daughter being arrested recently. You know, other ones wanting to go into the medical career. So it's not a real reflection of me talking to you and say, hey, this is what's going on with my children, my wife, my mom. It's not a real reflection. It's so far from the truth. It's unbelievable. And
Well, it
and it's sad.
It lacks context, because the context necessary to fully understand the
That too.
situation is boring.
Yeah.
And like it is. Like
For some people who share more, it lacks a ton of context.
Yeah.
For people who don't
Yeah.
like share everything, it's so like it's not even it's not an accurate description of, hey Mo, how are things going? It's not.
Yeah.
And you know, that was like I was really happy getting that message because it reminded me of it reaffirmed to me I'm not posting on social media all the time. Like if I do lately, it's been what's on my mind, which I posted something about Gaza yesterday.
I don't see any of your stuff. I don't see any of your stuff. Yours or Nancy. I can't.
The algorithm knows.
Yeah, I can't see. I mean, I don't really scroll that much. I've been doing a better job of not scrolling as much, but I don't see. I think the only stuff of yours I see is in the team page.
Really?
Yeah, like maybe if you add everyone, like I
I
don't
wonder
like.
if we're still friends. Are we
Yeah.
still friends on Facebook?
I mean, I don't unless you blocked me.
David Fox.
We still friends? Send me a friend request.
Nine new. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't tell you the last. What was the last thing you posted? Let me see.
Last thing I posted.
Oh, yeah, I literally I don't know if I've seen a post from you.
This yesterday I posted killings and
Yeah, I haven't seen any of that.
Rafael Vazquez takes third at freestyle wrestling. Wow. Oh, that's on your. Look at all these advertisements.
That's my stuff is so full of ads. I don't like. It's pretty spammy now. That's part of the reason why I don't scroll as much. But so this one, let's add this last question.
Yeah.
How do you build a brand people connect with, not just a gym? I'd like to think we've done a decent job with that. Always, definitely still room for improvement. How do you build a brand with people connect with, not just a gym? That's for you. That's a question for you. It's not frozen. He is still thinking. It's the camera's on you. I want our viewers to know it's not frozen. Like they don't need to refresh their screen.
How do you build a brand
that people connect with, not just a gym?
Keep it real.
I think so.
Yeah, I think like we're answering this question in the context of like Metro, but if we were doing some business consulting, it would be a different answer. Like find out, the niche, the market, maybe, who you want to go after, who you identify with. But I think it does ultimately go back, whatever the brand is, you have to reinforce the brand by your team needs to be representatives of what that brand looks like. And how would you answer that?
I think authenticity trumps. I think you can have some focus, right? You can have some focus, but authenticity is going to trump a lot of it. And I would also add.
Do you remember that one guy? We went to Tribe, and
I know you're Sean.
Yeah, Sean. And he was like so freaking loud.
Have you kept up with them?
No.
He's So last I heard, he got a case charge against him by the SEC for. So his brand is Lions Not Sheep. And it's
Okay.
Sean Whalen's brand, and and he was manufacturing stuff in China and ripping the Chinese tags off of it and claiming it was made in America.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so you can't do that, right? I mean, that's just one case. I don't. I actually had a conversation with a gentleman about Sean. Finish your thought about him though.
I was just gonna say that at the time, like he was a little bit too much for me, you know,
Yeah.
and his message, and he at the time he grew his social media following, and he was like he just started to really get a lot of exposure. But the one message I did take from there, because I chose to cherry pick things that made sense to me and take,
Sure. Yeah.
was be authentic. And that was his version of being authentic, which is loud in your face. And
He was also. It was he was on stage, so I understand
yeah,
like a stage personality might be a little different than but I think yeah, I mean being genuine, and I would also say to share, it's okay to like share. You know, everyone wants to say just keep it business, keep it corporate. But that's how you blend in. You know, like if all we're doing is just jujitsu, and what makes our jujitsu better than someone else's jujitsu, like that's not like they're all the same. You know,
yeah,
I made a post about this on my like they're all the same. Like I had the guy came in here and he was trying to, I felt like he was like trying to like bait me into talking smack about Detroit jiu-jitsu, and I was like, what do you want from me? They have good jiu-jitsu. like like different culture. Like if you're looking for Detroit, like that's totally different culture. Like if that's what you're looking for, then we're not going to be it, and vice versa. Like what, like there's no bad jujitsu in the area that I'm aware of. I mean, unless a CrossFit, you know, is like, you know, they've has taken up on, but like any of the main schools that like teach jujitsu full time are comparable,
yeah.
right? It's just comparable. Like, so what do you want from me? Like but to go and talk to like to understand that who the coach is as a personality, and I said this on that same post, to put your life on display to audit. I'm, you know, we believe in living beyond reproach. Like a scripture teaches, like, um, walk circumspectly, I think is the phrase. You know, it means just like there's not like any area of my life you want to audit. I'll tell you, I can tell you why I operate the way I do, and I can tie it to a scripture. So you may not like it. You may think it's bigotry. You may think it's, you know, callous. You may think it's chauvinistic, you know, but I can tie it to scripture. That's it. Like that's my personality, right? And then I'm sure you have same personality with you
100%.
going outside.
That's my programming.
Going outside of it, right? I think that's how you build a brand, and not, you know, like we don't shove that, but that comes through, you know, and how you care for the people in the gym around you.
Well,
So
you know, also how you respond to different people that came in, like that person that was trying to like, um, you know, get you to talk about other gyms. So I don't know if you saw this one, but I had a kid call in. He was in his like mid 20s, and he said, you know, he wants to try jujitsu, or he wants to start jujitsu, and he said he's been training before, and he was training at Commonwealth
mhm. Yeah,
with
Coach Danny and them. Yeah,
yeah,
a lot of Coach Danny's.
yeah, he was training at Commonwealth, and he'd been there for like 3 4 months, and I said, well, what makes you want to switch gyms?
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, well, you know, I just wanted to I wanted to know how much you guys were, and I wanted to know how much you guys were and see if you're any cheaper. And I said, okay.
No.
And then I asked him, I said, well, how do you like it over there? And he was saying nothing but good things about Danny and them over
Yeah,
there.
Commonwealth's great.
Yeah. So then I told him, I said,
We
look,
need to have. I need to have them on actually. I need to
that would be
message them
cool.
again. Yeah.
So I'm like, so they're nice guys. I know them.
John and
Yeah,
absolutely.
they're very nice guys. So
Yeah.
I'm like, how would you feel if if one day you just stop going there, and all the work that they put into you, all the helping that they've done for you in training, all the extra attention you're getting, you're going through a tough time. If they found out you left and you didn't even say goodbye.
Yeah, you didn't. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, you know what? What if I told you I could beat their price by like $5 or $10 a month? And what if they found out that you left for $5 or $10 a month?
Yeah, $10. That's
Yeah. And I'm like,
whorish.
I'm
It's
like,
whorish.
how do you think that would make them feel? And how would you feel if you left now that you're telling me all this information? And he's like, you know what? You're right. I'm so
white belt?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's like, you know, I'm so glad you explained it to that way. And I'm like, look, what I would do if you're having any doubts or like a little hurdle in your jujitsu and your journey, go talk to the coach.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I said, you could look at it like you're a customer and he's paying, you're paying him, but
I've never had that mentality
it's
in my life.
and I told him it's more than that. And I said, by the way your coaches treat you, you already know that. You don't need me to tell you. So I said, before you start calling other gyms and looking at other people, other gyms to jump ship and asking the cost price, anybody who's going to say, you know what, we'll match it or give you a cheaper price, that's not the place you want to go
That's
to.
not the place you want. That's not the place you want to go to anyway.
It's not. And like you said, there's good jujitsu in Michigan and the Midwest, and there's really, really good instructors. And he's not the only one that I would say actually I like him. Like he's cool. I've had a lot of interactions with him, and so to get back to your initial question, one is like, how do they make decisions? How do you make decisions on your culture and on the people that you're communicating with? You know, so that was a decision, a business decision. I thought that's best for that person.
Yeah.
And if you can make a decision based what's best for the person, then that is going to be an amazing brand. But if you only make a decision, hey, it's good for me, I get to pick up a customer, but it's not mutually beneficial, then that's not a win-win. That's not a win-win. And it's got to be mutually beneficial for both people, and you'll build an amazing brand, whatever product or service that you offer.
Well, that's like, you know, it's like a red flag. Like when you meet a girl and all she does is talk about how bad her ex was.
Yeah.
Like, nah, I'm straight, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I'm good. Like, thanks. Or, you know, you job interview, all they do is talk about how bad their past employer was. Nah, I'm good, man. Like, we're straight. Like they, you know,
and you have to be able to pick up on that because sometimes, you know, some people like to get into the pity party.
Yeah.
And
dude,
that's not a healthy place to go.
You can call it non-empathetic. That's the other thing with Landon and Scarlett. Well, it's more Scarlett. Like they'll start whining or complaining about something, and I'll be like, "All right, leave the room." I will not. It makes my ears want to bleed when all they're doing is whining and complaining. That lack of gratitude we were talking about. You know, the brand I think is important, and understanding that well, that could be a totally separate conversation in itself. But I think to the point of the brand though as well, which is and Muhammad stepped out, so I'm going to talk at the camera for a minute. Any jiu-jitsu academy that you're going to look for is going to be I mean, jiu-jitsu is a premium activity. You know, that when I started training back in 2009, you know, I think I was paying $1,200 a year at the time, and I like to pay up front just to not have any bills. And so prices have gone up dramatically. You know, and there's a true cost to the business, but going at it as a transactional relationship with a coach or whatever, it's good. It's very important to interview, you know, who the coaches are. You know, interview the coach, interview the not just the coach, the team itself, you know, and we're, you know, friendly as we have more and more school owners on. You know, we're friendly with a lot of school owners, and so it's a great network, great community, and I can personally tie a lot of very large life changes, not the least of which is partnering with Muhammad at Metro, but like a different business, like even in the jewelry industry, to the jiu-jitsu community as well. So so understanding it's an investment in something, but it's if it's important to you, like you'll be able to find a way to cut the money. Do you have Hulu, by the way?
I cut so many subscriptions and so many things.
If it was up to me, I don't know.
Do you have Hulu?
We do, but like mine.
Are you allowed to share your account?
Yeah. I mean, we have like 6 people on it. I'll share. I'll have Amanda
I
give you
think we
the.
share
I'll
with
have
somebody else.
I'll have Amanda give you the credentials. Like, but Hulu, bro, they played us so hard with cut the cord to cable, and all they did was just take all the channels and disperse them across 5 platforms, and so you're paying exactly, if not more than Hulu for our ad-free Hulu, dude. I want to say it's like $80. 75 or $80 for like what my like it's not cheap because we get the live, and then they like whatever channels that Amanda and my mother-in-law like need to watch, the HGTV or whatever, like sports channels, like
Yeah.
to watch the Super Bowl. Like it's like, I could be wrong, but it's like $80 a month. And I don't watch, the only thing I watch on Hulu now is Family Guy, and I could very much do without. Like like for the $80 a month, but that's what cut the cord, cut cable.
Is there any other topics, any other questions we didn't get to that?
I think that's it as far as the main ones. Far as the main ones, and we could always talk. We could always just talk shop and go on tangents forever. But we do have a couple things we have coming up. We do have we're hosting a Financial Peace University with one of our members, Dave Duncan. He hosted Financial Peace University for many years, and we're hosting it at our Southgate campus. It starts Sunday. It's a financial literacy class, open to the public, of course. I think it's $95 for the 8 weeks if you guys want to sign up.
Financial literacy.
Financial literacy.
So what can they expect to learn?
So they can expect to learn how to pay off debt. If you don't have debt, how to budget properly. I think it's hey Siri, what percentage of Americans budget?
Here's an answer from Brainly.com.
60. So 33% don't budget then. So 1/3 of the population doesn't even have a budget, which means they have no idea where their money's going. And then if you have $100 bill in your pocket and no debt, you are wealthier than 80% of the population. And so that is,
Wow.
it covers how
That's
to,
crazy.
right? Yeah. 90% of cars on the road have a car note on them. So it covers, I would imagine people, if they're watching this podcast, they've probably watched Dave Ramsey. But Dave Duncan is going to be hosting it, and not Dave Ramsey. When you were messaging me and you're like, "Oh, that's cool that Dave Ramsey's coming to Metro," I was like, "We couldn't get Dave Ramsey to come for an event for $100,000." And you're like, "Oh man, that's." I was cracking up, but it's going to be every Sunday at 5 p.m. I'll be there as well as because it's a great course. It's certainly helped Amanda and I. But they'll learn how to budget, how to save debt, or how to eliminate debt, how to save money, investment strategies, things like that. It runs kind of through like the full program of things. I'd say it's finances 101, maybe 201 as you get deeper into the class, but it's very helpful. It's a good refresher as well especially with where everyone's tightening their belt, just to track your dollars. So. That's what we have going up, and as always, guys, we've got our summer camp as well. So it's in full swing. So warm weather's here. Livonia is certainly will be filling up the soonest, followed by Southgate, about to fill up right after that. Canton, we have the most space in, but it's also our lowest capacity one. So if you're interested in summer camp, kids K through 6 on any of those. Hit us up, and we'll get your spot saved, set up with a campus tour. So, as always, you guys, we'll see you
On the mats.